Nadia, you've got some information for Kate.
Yeah, I have. Anne Mason was your great-great-great-grandmother, and she faced a lot of scrutiny in her life. Her husband, Richard Webber, he was a sailor.
My mum's side.
Ah, yeah. He was a sailor who tragically drowned in the River Forth when he was 24. His death was widely reported in the papers at the time. I think we've got cuttings of that. And 2 years after Richard died, Anne gave birth to an illegitimate child, Catherine. So your great-great-grandmother. Yeah. On the 28th of September 1876, Catherine's entry in the birth register reveals that Anne was illiterate, unable to even write her own name. She simply signed it with an X. Why did I suddenly feel emotional? That's really weird. The registrar left a rather snide comment about your Nan. Catherine Mason, illegitimate daughter of Anne Webber, maiden surname Mason, whose husband Richard Webber, seaman, died 2 years ago. As a well-known widow with an illegitimate child, Anne would have found life very difficult. She would have been considered a social outcast. There are multiple reports of her being charged with breaching the peace. So it's clear that she led a troubled life, and they've got newspaper cuttings of that, actually. I know, it's so sad. Despite that, though, Anne appears to have kept a close relationship with her daughter, who was raised by Anne's mother, as she spent her final years living with her, and her husband Hector dying at Pyrenees Lodge in 1898.
Wow. God, I mean, it's funny because 1898, but I mean, I recognise some of the names that I saw there.
Yeah.
And in some ways I smile because my mum and my granny and everything are fearsome individuals. Not fearsome, formidable.
Yeah.
And I can imagine Anne Mason not going quietly.
That's what I thought when I was reading it. Yeah,
so
knowing your mum.
Good on you.
Yeah.
Being clearly a
lovely.
Yeah.
And Stacey, you've got a bit more from me?
I have got a card about Arthur McLaren Dishkin, who was your second cousin twice removed. I'm not quite sure what that means. He's the grandson of your great-great-grandfather.
OK.
He had quite an eventful life. Arthur worked as a ship's steward in the Merchant Navy, and in 1941 he saved an Australian soldier who was drowning in Glasgow. His bravery was recognised by so many that he received a life-saving award from the Humane Society, a gallantry medal from the Corporation of Glasgow, and a financial reward from his employer. However, there's always a twist. More than 3 years later, after a prank went wrong, he found himself in court. You know what he did?
No.
He stole a car to take his girlfriend to the dancing Dunfermline line. So it was either a fine or 60 days of imprisonment. Sounds a bit strong. I took the fine. But yeah, that is your second cousin twice removed.
Wow, that's interesting. And I've got, right, OK. This is you, Stacey. This is Emil Stryker. It's your great-uncle by marriage. Now, he was born deaf into a Jewish family in Germany and attended a regular Jewish school, then transferred to a school for the deaf.
That's my grandma's brother-in-law.
I don't know. Let's see. He became a bookkeeper in his father's business until the rise of the Nazis, went into hiding in 1938. In 1939, he was expelled to Poland, but then returned to Germany in severely damaged health. He escaped from a German hospital and then from Germany itself, settling in England, where he learned English. After settling in England, he got heavily involved with the Jewish and general deaf activities and organisations, including organising the first British deaf tennis tournament in 1951. He helped found the World Organisation of Jewish Deaf in 1977, and he passed away in Hackney in 1990, and his wife, Matilda, died in 2009.
Oh.
So did you know some of that before?
I believe that is my great Auntie Ginny's husband. I remember Auntie Ginny really well. She was also deaf, which is his wife. And I knew that lots of my family had to flee the Holocaust, obviously. But I didn't know that he had founded the first ever deaf society. How incredible.
How amazing,
Yeah.
Isn't that lovely?
Oh. It's really funny, isn't it? Because when you hear about, excuse me, when you hear about the Holocaust and all of these things that happened in the past, you sort of sit there and think, I can't believe how privileged I am to be born in this day and age. Like, just ridiculous.
Now, we've got some more surprises now, and Stacey, I am going to start with you. I can reveal that out of all of us, you have the most prestigious family member.
No way.
Yes. Samuel Nash was your great-great-great-grandfather, born in 1795, and basically he fought at the Battle of Waterloo. Hey! He was in the 13th of the Cavalry Regiment, learned how to fight on foot and horseback, but his main role was to charge the enemy en masse and break their main resistance. And at the Battle of Waterloo, he was commanded by Lieutenant Colonel Shapland Boyce. The research team said Samuel witnessed one of our most important moments in British history, and not only that, had a defining role right in the middle of the action.
My goodness.
There we are.
It's just crazy, all of this.
Now, what about this? Whose relative committed a crime to get up the aisle? Apparently, Nadia, you know this.
I do. Your William Rintoul is Kay's, your great-uncle, brother of your grandfather James. He was in the army, although sadly his records don't appear to have survived. They got destroyed in the Blitz. However, he did make headlines in 1918 when he was charged with using a car illegally.
Oh, gosh.
During the war,
was he out with my great cousin twice removed?
During the war, rationing placed severe restrictions on the use of cars, but William ignored that because he was in a rush to get married before leaving for France. How romantic.
So you were a family of romantics.
Yeah.
Really.
This was not unusual, as faced with the prospect of imminent death, thousands of young couples had hasty marriage during the years of the war, perhaps to experience a bit of you-know-what.
Oh. Oh. Stacey, apparently you know who... Well, basically, who has a criminal in the family?
I do.
OK.
Maurice Dishkin.
Oh, my gosh!
He's the son of Alta and his wife, Anna Rivkin Cohen. They had 12 children. They were Belarusian immigrants who moved over to Scotland in the 1880s. They would have been escaping persecution back in Belarus. Many Jews fled to Scotland during this period, and some of them ended up in America, but obviously your great-uncle didn't. And interestingly, the family went by various name records, Dishka, Dishkin, Dishka, Dixon. But more importantly, in 1922, Maurice Dishkin was charged with loitering after attempting to take illegal bets like a peaky blinder.
I love Peaky Blinders.
Do you feel an affinity?
I do, it's all making sense now. So, that's funny about the name as well, because my dad's middle name is Dixon.
Oh.
And we knew it was a family name, and obviously I knew I had Jewish heritage, but I didn't know we had so many different names through the family. So we need to find out who's got the naughtiest relative.
Well, no surprises on this one, Nadia. Really, Thomas Snell on your mum's side, back to the 1860s. He was a naughty boy. He was in front of the magistrates at least 6 occasions in 1 year alone, and getting into fights with the pub landlady. So there you go.
Oh.
Maybe a bit of EastEnders.
I think how many times I was barred when I was younger from so many different pubs.
It's in your DNA.
It's in my DNA. Can't run away.
It's official. Now, literally, we literally have one more surprise in store. Our researchers revealed a connection between one of us and another panellist. Yeah, it's Kay.
Really?
Yeah. You are related to Janet. No, I'm only joking.
Oh, my God. I'm not well.
No, it was just worth it just for that. You have a really loose connection, and I do use the term very loosely, with...
Hi, Kay, it's me, Gloria.
Yeah. Yes. So Gloria has something that she wants to give to you. Now, I don't know if I've got the information in terms of what it actually is. I haven't got it written down here. But in a section, basically, you come from a family of pigeon fanciers, and so does Gloria.
Do you know what?
And
I do.
so-
I know I do.
There we are.
Love glow.
What a lovely old bird.
So there we are. You could be, in a tenuous, very loose way, related to Gloria Hunniford.
Thank you, Glo. I shall treasure this.
What is a pigeon fancier?
Beautiful, beautiful.
I'll tell you later.
Don't ask difficult questions. What
it's
life
true.
telling?
What did you say?
I do come from a family of pigeon fanciers.
Well, that's marvellous, but what the heck?
Tell you later. Tell you later. Nudge, nudge, wink, wink.
OK, I have to also say that the team did try desperately to find us a royal connection. Nothing. Absolutely nothing. They worked on it literally for hours and hours and hours, and nothing. None of us are related to royalty.